Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Health and Safety Matters podcast. I'm your host, Mark Sennett, and I'm the CEO of Western Business Media and with the publishers of Health and Safety Matters. I would like to thank our long-term sponsor of this podcast, which is once again the Health and Safety event. Now, if you don't know, you should know. The Health and Safety event is the biggest exhibition in the health and safety space in the UK, and it takes place on the 28th to the 30th of April 2026 at the NEC in Birmingham. It's completely free to attend, and if you go to their website, healthandsafetyevent.com, you can register for free. But you won't just get access to the health and safety event, you also get access for free to the fire safety event, the workplace event, and the security event. We're proud to be the lead media partner of the Health and Safety event. We'll have a stand there with the British Safety Industry Federation, so please do come along and see us between the 28th and the 30th of April at the NEC in Birmingham. Now, you don't have to wait for this podcast to come out to see all the latest news, prosecutions, products and services in the health and safety sector. No, you can go to our website, which is hsmsearch.com, and if you can't remember that, just throw into a search engine Health and Safety Matters. In fact, we've just relaunched our website, so I'm very keen to hear all of your feedback on the website. I hope it's a lot easier to navigate. The content is really easily tagged and connected. You can see all of our past and upcoming webinars, etc. So reasons to go to our website, other than what I said, news, prosecutions, analysis and products and services. You can also sign up to get copies of Health and Safety Matters magazine in print or digital format for free. You can browse our digital archive of back issues of the magazine, including the BSAF guide and the PPE Insights guide. You can sign up to our twice-a-week newsletter with 50,000 plus of your industry peers who get that every Monday and Wednesday. You can, as I said, also see all of our upcoming webinars on there as well. And there's plenty of downloadable resources. That is hsmsearch.com. You can follow us on X or you can follow us on LinkedIn. But we start off with the news as always. And I thought on this one, I'm going to start with a news story on the Building Safety Regulator because, as you probably know or may have heard, BSR, as it is for short, the Building Safety Regulator, has been moved out from being operated by the Health and Safety Executive. And IOSH have had some comments on this. So you can go to our website and just type in Building Safety Regulator in the search box or go to the news pages and up this article come. And IOSH is urging the Building Safety Regulator to maintain its firm commitment to high standards and sustain the momentum behind the industry's necessary cultural transformation. So IOSH is concerned that the delays in the approval processes could fuel claims that the building safety requirements are holding up the delivery of the government's target to build 1.5 million new homes. In fact, achieving lasting cultural change where safety, health and well-being are embedded at every stage is critical to delivering safe, sustainable development at pace, says IOSH. IOSH's call comes, as I said, as the government has moved the Building Safety Regulator out from the Health and Safety Executive and established it as a standalone body at arm's length under the guidance of the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government. So this transition took place effectively on the 27th of January this year and forms part of wider plans to progress towards a single construction regulator as recommended by the Grenfell Tower inquiry. So while acknowledging the potential benefits of a dedicated standalone regulator, IOSH has emphasised that the move risks weakening the strong safety-driven foundation and oversight provided by the HSE. The HSE's leadership and expertise were instrumental in establishing the BSR, and IOSH hopes that this shift doesn't erode the safety-first ethos for the Building Safety Regulator's long-term effectiveness. The timing of this transition adds to IOSH's concerns, it says. With significant operational pressures still unresolved, IOSH is warning that reorganising leadership and structure now could divert focus away from urgently needed performance improvements. It stresses that residents, industry and the wider public must see continued efforts that strive for safer building all through the building life cycle. But despite these concerns, IOSH recognises the shift as a meaningful step towards creating a more coherent regulatory system. It's urging the BSR to become more open and responsive by involving the built environment sector, fire safety and building safety professionals and resident advisory groups. Broadening participation will help ensure that regulatory decisions reflect a balance of professional expertise and the public interest, IOSH says. IOSH has also warned that the regulatory delays, if not addressed quickly, could become a flashpoint in national housing delivery and divert attention away from safety. So commenting on this, Ruth Wilkinson, who is the head of policy and public affairs at IOSH, said, "This transition represents a pivotal moment for the future of building safety. We will support efforts to improve clarity and coherence across the regulatory landscape. Safety must remain the non-negotiable cornerstone of the new regulator. The BSR cannot afford to lose focus or momentum. Its operational challenges must be tackled urgently to protect residents, maintain trust, and ensure that building safety is never used as a scapegoat for delays in housing delivery. It's imperative that the positive safety culture is created and maintained across the industry, with health and safety at its core. IOSH stands ready to work with the government and the new regulator, but we will continue to challenge any approach that risks taking the sector backwards. So, yeah, you can see that article in full on our website. Just go on to hsmsearch.com and then type into the search engine Building Safety Regulator. I want to move on now to a story about workplace fatalities through research created by the Royal Society Prevention of Accidents, ROSPA. It's quite a shocking headline, and it's on our website, and you can just search 8,000 people a day die in accidents worldwide. So accidents are the sixth leading cause of death worldwide, claiming over 3 million lives a year, and people in developing countries so far are more likely to be killed in accidents than those in richer nations. That is according to a new report released by ROSPA titled Accidental Deaths and Life-Changing Injuries, a Global Tragedy. The key headlines of this are 3.1 million people lost their lives in accidents in 2021 alone, which is over 8,000 a day, as I mentioned. 1 in 20 deaths worldwide is a result of an accident. 1.2 million people are killed in road collisions every year. 92% of road deaths happen in low or middle income countries, even though they have 60% of the world's vehicles. 315,000 people are killed at work. 94% of workplace deaths occur in lower and middle income countries. Workplace deaths are highest in Africa and Asia, and workers are almost 3 times more likely to die of a workplace accident in Asia than in Europe, and nearly 4 times more likely in Africa. Agriculture has the highest number of deaths of any sector. So these are the headline figures. I mean, it's obviously not surprising to hear that lower income countries have more fatalities related to workplace incidents. I mean, we're very lucky in the UK where we're based that it's around about 100 fatalities a year that we have. I mean, I shouldn't say lucky, because obviously everybody should return from home safe, as we always say on this podcast, and 100 plus is too many. But when you compare the statistics, the UK is really leading the way in terms of health and safety standards. So many of these, obviously, inequalities in these figures can be explained by poor infrastructure. And ROSPA has also found that 80% of deaths of working age adults take place outside of work in road traffic accidents. So Rebecca Hickman, who's the chief executive of ROSPA, said, every day, thousands of people around the world are killed or seriously injured in preventable accidents. Each death or injury devastates families and communities. At ROSPA, we believe safety is fundamentally a human right, one that should not depend on where you live. The findings are stark, and accidental death remains a major public health challenge, with lower and middle income countries facing the heaviest burdens. ROSPA's vision is an accident-free world, and this report provides a foundation of global actions by government, businesses, NGOs, and international institutions to act, because a safer world is not only possible, but essential. So, yeah, I'd suggest you go and have a look at these statistics on the article on our website. But I said it links nicely to the last episode of the podcast, where we obviously went over the UK's fatality rates. But, that is a shocking statistics. 3.1 million people lose their lives in accidents, whether they be RTAs or workplace accidents every year, which is a huge number of people each year. So, moving on to our next news story. And in this one, I want to cover the increasing risks that workers are facing from climate-related risks. So this is based on some news coming out of BSI. So there's new international guidance designed to help organisations protect workers from current and growing occupational health and safety risks related to climate change. And this has obviously been issued by BSI, as I said, and this includes challenges such as extreme heat, flooding, and rising pollution, which affects billions of workers around the world. So in this article, we say that climate change is having an increasing profound impact on the global workforce, with conditions such as drought, rising sea levels, severe weather, air pollution, and climate-induced resources shortages often intensifying existing OSH risks or creating entirely new ones. So according to ILO, over 70% of workers, that's an estimated 2.4 billion worldwide, are already being exposed to excessive heat each year. This can affect people in all roles and sectors, both outdoor and indoor, with the former physical labour or exposure to environmental conditions if they're outdoors. So you've also got agricultural workers, environment in the transport logistics sectors, and this can potentially have severe impacts. At the same time, efforts to adapt and to mitigate climate change, including introduction of new technologies, infrastructure upgrades, and relocation of activities and new ways of working, can also introduce additional hazards if they're not effectively anticipated and managed. So there is a new international PS which has been published by BSI to support organisations in identifying, assessing and managing these growing risks and taking action to address them. So you can see more information about this on the article on our website. This PES is called Occupational Health and Safety Management, Risks Arising from Climate Change and Climate Action, Guidance for Organisation, which is ISO/PAS 45007 2026. And this provides practical risk-based guidance to help organisations proactively address these challenges and create a resilient, safe, healthy and sustainable working environments. So the document, which is available for you to download for free via this article, provides guidelines for organisations to plan for and address risks resulting from climate change itself, such as flooding and extreme weather, and adapting efforts such as changes in work processes, working practices or infrastructure upgrades, as well as risks arising from climate change mitigation actions, including the introduction of new technologies and low-carbon infrastructure. It also highlights occupational health and safety opportunities linked to both the adaptation and mitigation, including opportunities to improve worker health, well-being and productivity. So commenting on this, the BSI, we've got Anne Hayes, who's the Director of Sectors and Standards Development at BSI, commented, "Climate change is no longer a distant challenge and is already affecting workplaces and billions of workers today, introducing new risks to worker health and safety, while also reshaping how organisations operate. The impact of climate change on the workplace is only likely to grow in the coming years. Therefore, helping managers understand how to respond and manage evolving risks, whether they arise from extreme weather, environmental changes, or the actions we take to adapt and mitigate climate change, is critical." So the ISO/PAS 45007 provides practical risk-based guidance designed to empower organisations to protect their people, strengthen resilience, and seize opportunities to enhance worker well-being, all while demonstrating responsible and sustainable practices. So moving on to this, so in the article we carry on and we say that the document draws on climate science concepts and adapts them to the context of occupational health and safety risk identification, assessment and control, with a strong focus on both health and safety impacts and preventative opportunities. It's intended for organisations of all sectors, sizes, and is relevant to those who govern, manage, advise, regulate, insure, invest in, buy from, or work for organisations affected by climate change and climate action. So, yeah, interesting article, this one. You know, that new standard is there for you to read. You can download it straight from the article. The article is titled Guidance to Protect Workers from Climate-Related Risks. Just go onto our website and type climate change. It'll come up as a top news story. That's probably the quickest way to do that one. Okay, so we move on to another news story now. And actually, it's another news story which has IOSH involved. And it's all about burnout issues, highlighting the urgent need for action. And IOSH is urging employers to take decisive preventative action on workplace stress, as new data shows that almost 2 in 5, that's 39% of young adults aged 18 to 24, took time off due to burnout in the past year. So these findings were published in Mental Health UK's latest burnout report, and you can see a link to that from our article. And it reveals persistently high stress levels across the UK workforce, with 91% of all respondents reporting higher extreme stress in the last 12 months. Young workers are being disproportionately affected, with isolation at work, fears of redundancy, and rising workloads identified as key pressure points. So the report highlights that the younger workers face unique pressures both inside and outside of work. Almost half, so 45% of 18 to 24-year-olds said workplace isolation contributed to their stress, while 2/3 reported poor sleep and money worries were a key issue for them. Concerns about job security and the impact of AI on future roles was also commonly raised during the findings of this survey. Despite this, many young workers said they feel unable to speak up. More than a quarter, so 27% of those who took stress-related absence received no support upon returning to work, and only 17% were given a formal return to work plan. 18% felt mental health provision in their workplace amounted to a tick box exercise. Burnout is increasingly recognised as one of the most significant threats to workforce well-being and productivity, and IOSH is calling on employers to embed health and safety approaches that address psychosocial risks with the same rigour as physical hazards. It continues to advocate for a stronger organisational support for managers, early intervention strategies, and robust wellbeing policies that prevent harm before it occurs. Commenting on this, Ruth Wilkinson again, who, as I mentioned earlier, is the head of policy and public affairs at IOSH, said these findings underline just how serious stress has become in the workplaces, with significant consequences for workers, businesses and society. Employers need to take a proactive approach by identifying and managing psychosocial hazards in the same way that they would any other health and safety risks. This starts with prevention. Employers should embed psychosocial risk management into their health and safety systems, backed by strong leadership and clear communication. Creating a culture where staff feel psychologically safe and able to raise concerns without the fear of stigma is essential. Managers play a vital role in spotting early signs of stress, so training and support for them is critical. Business should also review work demands, job design, and ask themselves effectively if they are engaging with their people effectively. So, yeah, I mean, it's quite a shocking statistic, actually, to say that 39% of respondents, aged under 24, had to take time off for burnout in the past year. That is a staggeringly high statistic. There's obviously concerns there about people's well-being, first and foremost, but also organisations will be massively affected by that. From losing people affects productivity. So what IOSH is saying there about having proper support structures in place is absolutely key to making sure that people don't get burnt out and overworked. It's really identifying these risks early and helping manage them and eliminate them that will then ultimately improve people's well-being. And it's an interesting article. I'd ask you to go onto our website, just throw into the search box burnout, and it'll come up as the top story. Okay, so just rounding off the news now, I'd obviously encourage everybody listening to this to enter the Safety and Health Excellence Awards. You can do that at she-awards.com or throw into a search engine Safety and Health Excellence Awards. You have got until the 27th of February to enter for free. That's 11:55 in the evening. There are a number of categories, Best Driver Risk Management Performance, Best Health and Safety Manufacturing, Health and Safety Manager of the Year, Best Health and Safety Project, Best Use of Health and Safety Data to Lower Incident Rates, Campaign of the Year, Distributor of the Year, Health and Safety Team of the Year, the Inclusivity Award, Marketing Campaign of the Year, Rising Star, Sustainable Company of the Year, Unsung Hero Award, Woman of the Year, Training Provider of the Year, Health and Safety Consultancy of the Year, the Safety Excellence Award, Risk Management Product of the Year, and then our judges will pick the Lifetime Achievement winner. So this is the perfect way to get yourself, a colleague, your team, colleagues, your organisation, a product recognised. It only takes a few minutes to enter. I know just how much this means to people because we have a record amount of entries each year. I'm very proud of that we're the biggest awards do in the sector. And it has a purpose. It's not just for a great night of socialising and entertainment. It's a night that recognises everything that you do to keep people safe and premises safe. And, if you get shortlisted, that's the first major win. You're selected by your peers, not me, by an esteemed panel of judges who are completely independent. And it's a chance for you then to proudly show and get the recognition you or your team or your colleagues or organisation deserve by this. And it's free. It costs you absolutely nothing to enter, and you've got until the 27th of February to do so. We will announce a shortlist in March, and the awards due itself are going to be bigger than ever, actually, on the 1st of July at the Coventry Building Society Arena, a much bigger venue than we've ever run before because we've sold it out so many years in a row with 750 coming each year. This year we've got comedian Catherine Ryan hosting it, and there's fairground rides such as Dodgems there, there's fire breathers, stilt walkers, other fairground games in there, a band, a dance floor, fun money casino table, photo booth. It's a great night of entertainment, and it's a great night to take your team out to celebrate. But also, the who's who of the sector is there. It's a great opportunity to network. But its most important cause is exactly what it's set out to do, and that's to recognise the key role that you guys do in keeping people and property safe. So please do go to the Safety and Health Excellence Awards website, she-awards.com, and enter for free. Now, also, this is another urgent thing to tell you. Our next event is HSM Live Leeds, which takes place on the 12th of March at Elland Road. We are nearly gone in terms of free delegate passes. They're nearly all gone. You need to register now if you want to join us. hsmlive.co.uk. You can register for free. We've got an opening address from the Health and Safety Executive. There's 11 sessions in total. We've got sessions on why EHS teams feel under pressure and how tech can help, consolidating the health and safety supply chain, the financial implications of non-compliance. That is a legal session by DSC Beechcroft. The gold standard of manual handling techniques. Why safety is a growth strategy, being delivered by Eco Online. From data points to prevention, building a proactive approach to workplace risk management. Then we've got a workplace noise-induced hearing loss session. Then we've got a session by the British Safety Industry Federation, John Hooker, the new CEO there, the point and criticality of PPE. Then we've got a really fascinating session on women in health and safety. That is an absolutely key session. That's going to have Heather Beach from the Healthy Work Company chairing it, along with Debbie Airy from Safety Monitoring Group and Kate Harrison from Harrison's of Hull. And it will show female health and safety professionals discussing how they got into the sector and what more can be done to encourage more women to join the sector. That is all part of our big campaign this year for women in health and safety. And then the final session, and perhaps, probably we said the best to last here, you do not have to say anything, but should you? A mock interview under caution. So this has been delivered by law firm DSC Beechcroft, and you can join them to experience a mock interview under caution. Understanding the significance of this key investigatory process is vital, and when to attend an interview, what to say or not to say, and the alternatives that we considered, with all being covered in this engaging practical session. This is the first time we've run this, first time anyone's run it anywhere. And we've done mock trials many a time, but we actually thought this would be really useful for you guys to see a simulated mock interview under caution based on a real previous interview. So this all takes place on the 12th of March at Leeds United's ground, Elland Road, and it is free to register, but there's hardly any places left, so you need to register now at hsmlive.co.uk. Now, I want to finish the news section of this podcast with some terribly sad news, and some personally sad news to me and everyone who works at HSM. A good friend of mine for many years, and someone that worked in the health and safety sector for many years, Tony Bond, sadly passed away on Boxing Day. I'm lucky to be able to call Tony a friend. He has been in the health and safety sector for many years. He was in it. He ran as a lead salesperson Safety and Health Expo for many years alongside Dave Bishop when that existed, and that was obviously the biggest health and safety exhibition going for many years. And then he moved into PR, representing clients like RRC and JSP and Shirley Parsons and many other. And Tony was a character. that is an understatement. Tony was an incredible sportsman. He was a former England international rugby player. He played 6 times for his country at rugby union, and he was just a special rugby player. He obviously was part of the famous North team that beat the All Blacks when they came over, and Tony scored tries in that match. And he was honestly one of the few friends of mine I can say that every time I think of Tony, I can't think of a single time when he didn't make me laugh. My heart goes out to Tina, his partner, for 20 years. Tina's my former boss at SHP, and she introduced me to Tony. And anyone that knows Tony knows what a fun and great guy he was. Obviously, he was an elite level athlete that then transcended into the health and safety sector. And he did an unbelievable job in making that show the sector's biggest show. And then he did a fantastic job for clients after that as PR. He retired a few years ago, and I'm very grateful to Tina for letting Dave Bishop, his best friend, and I go over to Ireland to visit Tony in hospital before Christmas, before he sadly passed away on Boxing Day. I love Tony very much, and I love Tina very much, and Tony will be greatly missed by everybody. It's been fantastic seeing the feedback on LinkedIn and social media, the news of his sad passing when Dave Bishop posted that on LinkedIn. So yeah, my heart goes out to Tina and obviously the rest of Tony's family as well. Tony, you'll be missed, and Tina, you're very much in our thoughts. So now we move on to the guest that we've got on this episode of the podcast, and I'm delighted to be joined by Laura Wise from NEBOSH. And this interview is a really interesting chat about women in the health and safety sector, but actually it mainly focuses on NEBOSH's launch of its Social Purpose Programme. And Laura gives us some really great insights into not only what the plans for this programme are, but what it's already achieved. So I sat down with Laura earlier, and here's what she had to say. Hi Laura, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Mark, how are you?
Yeah, good. I mean, as we speak, we're currently preparing for Health and Safety Matters Live in Leeds, where NEBOSH has got its own conference. That's on the 12th of March. So anybody listening to this that isn't coming to join us at Elland Road on the 12th of March, better do so now, because places are fast going. So you can go through the NEBOSH website to be part of the NEBOSH conference, or you can go through our website, hsmlive.co.uk, and register up for Health and Safety Matters Live. So no, really busy with that, really excited about that. But I'm also really excited to have you on the podcast. We've had NEBOSH on before, but you're a newbie for us on here, Laura. So
be kind.
I will be kind, I promise. And so yeah, I kind of want to look back before we go forward with this. So back in September of last year, NEBOSH officially launched its new Social Purpose Programme. What motivated NEBOSH to develop this initiative, Laura?
So it's something that we thought about for the past few years, actually. And as part of our new strategy that we launched a couple of years ago, we set this out as a key theme for us to develop. So you're right, it was released in September 25. Motivation behind it. So we are traditionally offer qualifications, and we look to reach communities through structured safety training. And one of the desires behind this programme was to go a little bit beyond that. So we have the means to be able to look at how we impact preventable workplace harm in regions across the world. So the programme aligns with our charitable vision, which is obviously to enable and inspire the world of work and the wider environment to be safer and healthier. And what we're now looking to do is a collaborative effort of working with partnerships with charities, businesses, learners and learning partners to now go a little bit further than our traditional model of offering the qualifications.
So health and safety has such a global remit. How have you identified the programme's priorities, Laura?
We worked with an organisation called Trust Impact on our theory of change. So this was an extensive piece of work that we did to really challenge ourselves on what we wanted to achieve with the programme. And part of that was to really look at the need and the impact that we wanted to have in putting this piece of work together. So our themes that came out of it were tackling high accident and incident rates in communities and underrepresented groups, trying to look at increasing diversity in the UK and global OSH professional workforce, and then addressing cost and other barriers to accessing OSH qualifications and training. We did an extensive piece of research prior to the Trust Impact coming in. We looked at data from the ILO and from the HSE and tried to bring all of that together into key target areas for us. So they're the programme's priorities, but it wasn't just, a simple case of, let's just have a think. It was a really considered across organisational and with the board as well, a look into where we think we would be able to have the most impact.
And can you tell me a bit more about some of the projects you're supporting?
So far, we've approved 16 projects. So we're really pleased with the progress we've been making of the programme. Some of the ones that we've invested in are things like a project with a local Leicester organisation called the Race Equality Centre. They're doing training on safety signs at work. We've invested in a programme called Menomines, which is with a menopause organisation. It's looking at support for menopause in the workplace. But we've also gone further afield as well, outside of the UK. So I don't know if you've seen some of the literature that we've had a hand in funding recently, but for example, the Society of Occupational Medicine, they've produced literature on artisanal and small-scale mining and how we can go about trying to affect change in that area. And then an organisation called Societe has just very, very recently produced a piece of literature around PPE, women's PPE. So these ones are sort of finished, completed projects, and we're now really excited to look at the next phases for those. But there's a variety of different projects that we've approved, and like I say, 16 in total, 12 different countries where these projects are currently being supported on, and you can find out a lot more information about them on the website.
So obviously you're still in the early stages of the programme, but can you tell me about some of the impact of the work so far?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, some of the research that's already been produced by SOM and Societe. So we're planning webinars with SOM, for example, over the next few months so that they can present their findings and the recommendations within that paper. That's free for anyone to register for, by the way, so keep an eye on the NEBOSH channels. The Societe one, for example, that one's been published, and we'll be looking to look at the next phase for that. Where does that research and the evidence and the data now take us in order to really start to impact change within the workforce and for the worker? We also, in terms of impact, had some of our first-time scholarship learners attend the NEBOSH graduation. They've recently achieved our NEBOSH diploma, working with some of our trusted learning partners, and we thought, that was a real special moment for us, and that's people that we're funding to go through and take that diploma course. We're trying to sort of bring together a bit more of that impact information and the data that we're gathering, and hopefully at some point over the next 6 to 9 months we'll have a dashboard on our website, which means that you'll be able to go in and really see what each of these projects has done, not just for those people that are the direct beneficiaries of the work that we're doing, but those that are indirect as well, because training and knowledge around IOSH and interventions in the workplace is not just beneficial for the worker, it's obviously beneficial for their families, for the communities, and all those people that are around that individual that's received some of the training, intervention knowledge that we're giving during this programme.
And what are your plans in the coming years for the programme?
So I've got big plans. We've got some of the aims and objectives obviously closely aligned to our charitable objectives as a whole, but we're looking to really start to target those areas and those areas in the world and those industries where the accident rates and the fatality rates from work are still incredibly high. We'd like to broaden the programme so that we can start to do more in those regions and more with those industries that need some support. So one of the things that we're looking to do over the next year is develop the next sort of 5-year strategy for the programme. So this doesn't end after year 3. It carries on, and we're looking to scale that up. We've been really sort of heartened by the positive feedback that we've received from the people that are being affected by the programmes that we're funding, and just the general IOSH community as well, in terms of, more interventions and more work being done to try and help keep people healthy and safe at work. So that's what, scaling the programme up is something that we're looking to do. Working with global strategic partners is something that we're looking to do. So keeping with the theme of partnerships, we want to work with people who align with our values, who align with our charitable mission, and have similar reach and have similar capabilities to be able to run some of the programmes and projects that we want to do. And watch the space. We've just signed a project off with Safety Superhero. So that one is looking to take health and safety into schools. It's working with teachers and trying to then influence the next generation of OSH professionals.
Now, I know to NEBOSH, a really important aspect is encouraging all people from all backgrounds, all ages into the sector, because it's a fantastic career, health and safety. And, I've been part of that sector, luckily, through the media side for nearly 15 years and working with NEBOSH from day one. And obviously, we've announced the launch of the Women in Safety and Health Awards. We announced that at the back end of last year, and we'll be opening entries to that in April this year. Now, part of that is really a campaign, Laura, which is to shine a light onto why it's a great sector for working for women and to see more women progressing within the sector. And we're going to use this podcast and the magazine as a vehicle for doing that. And actually, it's a nice way to kick this off, is having a conversation with you. It's also about connecting people together and understanding, like-minded peers in the sector. So could you tell us how long you've been at NEBOSH, where your career in health and safety started? Did you ever think you'd fall into it?
I can't say that it was something that I left school thinking would be my career of choice. So I've been with the organisation now. I'm doing quick maths here. I think we're looking at about 19 years. At some point during this year, I'll hit the 19-year mark. So I've been with the organisation a long time, and I've seen, the incredible impact that it has on people's lives and the initiatives that we do to try and increase and improve the diversity within the occupational safety and health sector as well. In terms of sort of passion for health and safety, it's hard not to feel passionate about it when you see the stories, when you see the reports, the news reports that come out of things that happen, avoidable things that happen to workers. So it's difficult not to be impacted by that. I also have quite a personal connection with it, in that my mother was injured in a workplace accident when I was in my early teens, and that actually permanently disabled her as a result of that, and is something that had a big impact on all of our lives. So there's a personal connection for me that I didn't quite realise was there until I started working for NEBOSH, and it's something that I hold on to, that was an avoidable accident, and there's so many things that we can still do to improve the workplaces for many people across the world.
And I guess one of the things that we want to get as a message out there, and I'm keen to get your take on this, is just because you work in health and safety, I don't think people, especially younger people who are considering coming into the sector, don't realise just how broad the job could be. I mean, NEBOSH is a truly international organisation. You run all across the world. You work with people from all kinds of backgrounds. To me, it's a really fascinating sector to be in, because whether you're in marketing, operations, training, a health and safety professional, it really is different, isn't it? It's not what you expect.
Yeah.
I just think it's a fascinatingly interesting profession to get into. Is that something, working in the organisation that you work in, which is obviously a truly international organisation, has it surprised you over the years that you've been there, and you're living proof that you can have a proper long-term career with one company in the sector? Has it surprised you over the years of, from going in on day one to the 19 years experience that you've got there? I imagine it was been a lot different than what you probably thought it would be on day one. It's probably not the job you thought you might have had for 20 years, but that is what hopefully is going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's still the occasional eye roll when you tell people what sector you're working in. It has got that stigma to it. But what I would say is that health and safety isn't just hard hats and clipboards and stopping somebody tripping over. There's the framework that sits around that, and the influence that you have over an organisation's culture and over an organisation's systems of working internally, processes, compliance, governance, risk, all of those areas that health and safety touches. So it isn't just somebody that's trying to, on a traditional manual labouring site, it isn't that. There's the people-centred approach to health and safety is really important, and that's why it's so broad, and the impact that professionals have is so broad because of that people first centre that it's got. And I think one of the things that the industry does well, and that NEBOSH is doing at the minute, is trying to showcase the impact that somebody has when they've got that health and safety qualification. When you've got that knowledge and you've got that responsibility, you see the impact that they have. And the case studies that are on our website showcase what it means for somebody who has been influenced by health and safety and has now got that knowledge to be able to go in and make a change in the workplace. And to your point earlier about diversity, we've got the L'Oreal bursary, for example, which is directly targeted at women taking qualifications and entering the workplace as an OSH professional. And we would encourage people to take a look at that, and if they're eligible, then please do put in an application.
So just to round this off, we always talked about your programme, we talked about your career and NEBOSH as an organisation. If people want to find out more about NEBOSH, about the programme that you set up, or to get in contact with you directly, how can they do that, Laura?
Yeah, so I've got a LinkedIn profile, so please check me out, Laura Wise, Chief Strategy and Governance Officer. The NEBOSH website is nebosh.org.uk. On the About pages, there is a special dedicated area for the Social Purpose Programme as well. And we have a social purpose inbox, which is social.purpose@nebosh.org.uk. So if you've got any suggestions or you think there's great opportunities for us to have a look into for the programme, please do get in contact with us. But check out the website for more information on the strategy, and hopefully we'll get some ideas for collaboration.
Well, thank you again for joining us, Laura. It'd be remiss of me not to remind everybody, you can come and see many of the NEBOSH team at their conference co-located with ours at Health and Safety Matters Live in Leeds. There's a NEBOSH Leeds conference on the 12th of March at Elland Road. It is free to attend. You can register for the NEBOSH sessions via the NEBOSH website. You can register for the HSM sessions at hsmlive.co.uk. We have not got much room for many more people in, so if you're listening, do get your free registrations in soon, and we hope to see you on the 12th of March at Elland Road. But Laura, it's been lovely to catch up with you. Thank you so much for all your time, and hopefully we'll have you on again soon.
Thanks very much, Mark. Thanks.
And that's all we've got time for in this episode of the Health and Safety Matters podcast. My thanks to Laura from NEBOSH for her time for that interview, and I hope you enjoyed it. Also want to thank the Health and Safety event, who are the sponsors of this podcast. As I said before, their event takes place on the 28th to the 30th of April 2026 at the NEC in Birmingham. You can register for free at thehealthandsafetyevent.com, and your free pass will also give you access to the fire safety event, workplace event, and the security event. And you can see us there because we are the lead media partner. We'll have a stand there jointly with the British Safety Industry Federation. Come and see us. We would love to see you. And as I said, that is the 28th to 30th of April at the NEC in Birmingham. Register for free at healthandsafetyevent.com. But as I said, you don't have to wait for this podcast to come out. You can go to our website at any time for all the latest news, prosecutions, products and services, and industry analysis. So the website address is hsmsearch.com, or throw into a search box Health and Safety Matters, and up we come. And on there, you can also have access to our upcoming webinars. You can also sign up to get our twice-weekly newsletter for free, view back archives, digital issues of our magazine, or sign up to get print or digital copies of HSM for free, including the BSAF guide and the PPE Insights guide. You can see our events calendar on there, and a whole lot more. You can also follow us on X, or you can follow us on LinkedIn. Please do give us positive reviews on whatever podcast platform that you listen to us on. We'd very much appreciate that. But mainly, I want to say thank you to all of you for joining us on today's episode, and I hope to see you on the next edition of the Health and Safety Matters podcast.